So guys, we're going to be doing an exhaust gasket and intake gasket replacement, and I lost the video on this first section, so I had to record it on another day. But basically what we're going to be doing here is removing this hose and this intake box. There's 3 clips, one on the back side, one on the front, and then one on the inside. So once you remove all 3 of those, this box will just pull straight out of the engine bay. But you also got to remove this hose from the carburetor itself. In order to do that, there's a clip that you're going to put a screwdriver underneath and then push on the other side of that clip, and it'll release it. So there's one up here and one down on the carburetor side. Once you get those, this whole intake box will just remove out of the engine bay. Then you can continue with the exhaust bolts and everything else you need to remove. So we're going to be removing these wires here. All your fuel injectors got to come out. We got to release the fuel pressure and remove the whole fuel rail off of the manifold. There's a few other wires here, like this one down here, needs to get disconnected. So looking at these wiring, looks kind of confusing. However, each plug is different with different colors, different amount of wires, just different size. So it pretty much, there's only one place for them to go right back into. So to release the fuel out of the fuel rail, you need to get to the Schrader valve. Some vehicles are mounted in the middle, some are up front, some are hidden someplace else on the fuel line. Most of them are on the fuel rail itself. In this case, it's right in the middle. So what you're going to do is you're going to put a towel over it. You're going to depress the Schrader valve to allow the fuel to come out. And what this towel does is keep it from spraying everywhere. I'm going to go ahead and remove the carburetor and then also the transmission linkage bracket and throttle linkage bracket. So once all those bolts are loose, they're actually 10 millimeters. There's 4 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there's 3 on this guy, 1, 2, and then there's 1 tucked back here. If you can see that one. Yeah, it's right back in there. So you get all those out and then remove these guys from the clips and then just put it on the other side of the engine for now. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that. That's inside of that carburetor. So I'm going to pull that thing apart, clean it, and clean the sensors as well. Basically, I'm going to pull these 2 off and these 2 off, and clean the throttle sensor and fuel sensor as well. And then I'll clean, inside of here and inside of there, and should be good enough. And then just scrub down the outside. Alright guys, we're getting the fuel injector plugs off. Basically there's a groove on both sides. Just kind of pry open a little bit, just enough to get above the little tooth on the side. So it's not much. So basically you're just going to go in here, just pry just a hair. And then lift the plug up, and then do it on the other side as well. So we need to remove the belt to get to a few of these bolts, and remove this piece to get to those bolts as well. So in order to do that, you're going to need to loosen this bolt here, and then in the back there's 2 bolts, one here and then there's one about 4 inches down. It's a little hard to see, but down at the bottom there. You gotta loosen both of those, and that'll allow it to slide in this groove here, and that's your belt tensioner. So those 3 bolts, this one and the 2 in the back, are 13 millimeters. Go ahead and use a socket here and open and wrench on the back. Alright, so once you have those loose, there's a couple bolts at the bottom that you need to loosen up. I don't know if you can see that groove there's a groove right here that you need to loosen this bolt up to allow it to slide. So it slides in the back and in the front. So once you guys have all those loose, put a 13mm open end here or socket, whichever one you decide, as long as it's 13mm, and just loosen this bolt up. As you're loosening that up, it'll actually take the tension out of the belt to where you can get it off of the pulleys. Alright, so to remove this completely, there's a bolt here, one down there, and then one down at the bottom here as well. So you want to remove all three of those, and that'll allow you to pull this whole unit off. I forgot to mention these are 14mm. Okay, so we're gonna have to remove this by taking out some of the tensioner bolts. There's the top one that we loosened up earlier, and the two in the back that we loosened up. You're gonna have to fully take those out. The best way to do it is remove the top one, and then remove these two because it's such a tight space at the same time. So as you're removing it, you're gonna be pulling it out. So the bolt actually extends this way rather than towards the back. Guys, it's time to take the exhaust and intake manifolds off. There's 7 bolts all the way around. So I'm going to continue to remove the intake and exhaust manifold. However, I think I found my issue, and I didn't actually remove this bolt. I can't seem to get a good picture of it. There it is. That bolt rattled loose in the back, so I'm gonna have to find another bolt to fit in there, washer or something, to help fill the gap there, and so I'll get that replaced, and the gasket since I'm at it. So before we fully remove all of these nuts and bolts, I want to let you know it's a good idea to put a jack on your exhaust tube just to kind of help hold up the weight, because what's going to happen is once you start loosening those, it's going to want to come down. Okay, so I got the intake manifold off. What I'm going to do is pull it back and tie it off to something so I can get into the exhaust manifold and pull that guy off. So what I'm probably going to wind up tying it back to is one of the brake lines. And as you can see inside, that looks pretty gummy. I'm going to try to clean out some of that as well. I don't know if you guys can see that, but that is where it was leaking from, that back exhaust manifold that wasn't bolted in. The other thing that was kind of odd, I don't know if you can see the imprint, there wasn't a gasket over any of the exhaust ports. This is the only gasket that came with it, and that was stock. I don't know, just kind of odd, but hey, maybe they thought it would fit up tight originally. I don't know, maybe someone replaced it, but there's not even a gasket on this side as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean up those and get this new exhaust and manifold gasket installed. Alright guys, so when you're installing this, put the metal side towards the manifolds, mainly because this is the hottest part of the engine. And then there's a torque specs that I will actually post in this video as well on how to tighten it down. It's kind of like a car tire. You're going to want to tighten this one first, the one underneath second, third, fourth, fifth, all the way down at the bottom, sixth, and then seventh up here in front. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and get everything snug up. I got to get that one bolt replaced, the one that was missing. I checked the threads, they're still good, so it just rattled out. And then I'll do the tightening specs. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut the cable ties to get the intake manifold back installed. One thing to note is that this bolt here, that bolt, that one, and that one are all shared with this manifold. You also got to line up this hole to those pins. There's another hole in that one. That's why you don't want to tighten everything down, because you need to move it around to get everything lined up properly. Alright guys, so I got the carburetor back on, the throttle cable, transmission cable, the mount back on. All the hoses are back in place. I'm getting ready to do the electrical right now. Just remember to hook up all the electrical connections that you unplugged before, and all of the air or fuel or other hoses that came off. Alright guys, so I got the belt back on. One thing you need to know about the belt is get the right tension on it. You don't want it too loose where it comes flying off. You want it too tight where it's going to snap. You want roughly about a finger movement on this. This is still too loose, so what I'm going to do is get down at the bottom underneath the pulley. See this bolt right here? I'm going to continue to tighten that up until I like the tension. There we go. And then once you like the tension of it, that's still a little too loose, you want to make sure you tighten up this bolt and the back two bolts back here, and there's one down at the bottom. Okay, so once you guys get the tension on the belt that you like, that's about what I'd like to see. Okay, you want to make sure that before you go tightening these up, you get the set bolt for the tensioner tightened in. It's the one right in here. It's right here. See this guy? That's that one you want to tighten down, and then you can tighten the last three. This one and then the two in the back. Alright guys, got it running. I don't hear the tick anymore. It sounds solid to me. Pretty happy with it. All it was basically a gasket. Didn't even have to pull the exhaust manifold off and weld it, so that's great. It sounds solid now for 4-cylinder. Pretty stoked about that. So thanks guys for watching. Join me on the next one.